A fire was started. These buildings that it's getting close to, it's farms, and they've got livestock. Used the poop shedder and just sprayed a lot of manure on it. We're gonna take a quick break and thank our sponsor for this episode, which is Shopify. Shopify powers 10% of all e-commerce in the United States. Plus, Shopify's award-winning help is there to support your success every step of the way. Because businesses that grow with Shopify. Sign up for a $1 a month trial period at shopify.com/Rebecca, all lowercase letters. Go to shopify.com/Rebecca to grow your business, no matter what stage you're in. Shopify.com/Rebecca. Now, back to the episode. So when I think of underappreciated professions, one of the largest examples that come to mind to me is firefighters. Caden.
Okay.
So Caden, thank you so much for hanging out with me today.
Of course, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So you are a firefighter.
I am.
How did you come to decide like, oh, this is something that I want to do?
So actually growing up, my dad was a firefighter.
Aww.
So, and my cousin, so
it's like a legacy thing.
Kinda, yeah. So I mean, I remember visiting him at the station growing up, and you know, him showing me the trucks and playing with the hoses, and we have memories like that. So I was always, you know, in the back of my head, like, you know, this is really cool, and I could see myself being a firefighter one day, and that kind of is what introduced me to it. But actually, my once I got into high school, my parents were like, you know, instead of doing firefighting, you could make so much more money elsewhere. Like, you're smart. Yeah. You know, you don't have to go into burning buildings. There's other things you could do. Why don't you go to college and see, you know, if there's anything else you're interested in? And that's kind of what I did. And then I realized there wasn't anything else I was interested in.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Yeah.
So, like, are there any requirements of when it comes to being a firefighter? Like, what requirements are there to be able to sign up for this kind of job?
So it's gonna differ state to state. Being in Florida, I had to have, you know, high school diploma, GED.
So you do need a high school diploma. Okay,
Yep.
I never knew that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep. So or a GED, and then so in different states, it's just fire and not fire and EMS. So the fire and the medical side is separate.
Okay.
But in Florida, for the most part, to my knowledge, it's you have to be dual certified, so a minimum EMT and then a firefighter as well. So
interesting. I did not know that.
yeah, so it's not just fires. So I'm a paramedic also. So do the fire and the medical calls as well.
Interesting.
Yep.
And so what kind of like training do you have to go through for both of those?
So at the minimum, EMT school is a semester.
Okay.
And then fire school is another semester. So you can do it in a year.
So what do you learn in both of those programs?
So I went through EMT school first, and you learn basically basic life support, taking care of the sick and injured, just, you know, how to deal with medical emergencies, and you know, the schooling that involves that is anatomy and you know, dealing with different injuries and people with respiratory issues, and you know, just anything that people might call 911 for.
Interesting.
Yeah. And then fire school, so EMT school, and then you have clinicals and things like that. But so I spent some time in the hospitals, because just because you're an EMT, you don't have to work for the fire department.
Right.
You could work for private ambulance companies and things
My
like
brother-in-law was actually an EMT before PA school, so I'm like, oh, I didn't even know that was a part of it. Yeah.
Yep. So and then fire school is so I liked EMT school, and then I was like, oh no, I really like the medical side. And then I went to fire school, and I was like, oh no, this is where it's at. This is the better part. This is where the fun's at, because it's a lot more hands-on.
Yeah.
You know, you're outside, and you're, you know, learning how not just to put out fires, but there's so much more than just firefighting. It's, you know, using extrication tools for car wrecks. You're doing search and rescue. You're rappelling. You know, you're doing all sorts of other stuff, and that I never even thought went into firefighting.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So you have like a lot of fun with your job.
We do, yeah.
Oh, I love that. But at the end of the day, I know, like, because like I was a teacher, and like it was so much fun and I loved it, but you know, like we didn't get paid anything, which I know firefighters get paid even less.
Yeah.
Like I feel like firefighting is a job and a career where like you literally save people's lives and livelihoods and homes and families and pets and things like that. But like, it's not really like, you don't really get much out of it other than the satisfaction, right?
Right. I mean, it has great benefits, a good retirement, but starting out, I've been doing it 6 years now, and the more that you have on, the more that you make over time.
Right.
But starting out, and even now, it's really not that much.
Economy?
Yeah, right? So a lot of firefighters have side jobs.
Wow. That's great. And you guys already have really crazy hours, right? Like, what are your hours? Like, what does a typical day look like for you at the firehouse?
So my schedule is 24 hours on, 48 hours off.
Wow.
And that's not the gold standard, but for the most part, generally, at least in Florida, that's kind of how the schedule goes. Now, it can be like a case-by-case basis with like different departments, but yeah, so I work every third day.
Wow. And you spent like just 24 hours at the firehouse?
7:30 in the morning to 7:30 the next morning.
Wow. And what does a typical shift look like for you?
So typical shift is I get there and I get with whoever I'm riding with. So how the station runs.
Okay.
And so I mentioned that I do the firefighting and I'm a paramedic also.
Right.
So our station has 2 rescue trucks, which are the ambulances, and then 1 fire engine. So we have 2 people to a rescue truck, a paramedic and an EMT. It can be 2 paramedics, but it has to at least be 1 paramedic and an EMT.
Right.
And then the engine has 3. So you have the officer, you have the engineer who drives, and the guy riding backwards, the firefighter.
Right.
So we have a few people at our station. So we'll rotate. We have a rotation where we spend time on the ambulances, and then we'll cycle onto the engine. And but what people probably don't understand is I have all my firefighting gear on the ambulance as well. So if there's like a fire, in our zone, we'll respond on the ambulance and then just hop on the engine once we get there. And then we can bunk out and get to work. So anytime we can be fighting fire, but we just might be designated to a specific truck.
Crazy. And so like, I know that you obviously for safety reasons have to wear so much gear.
Yep.
How heavy is the gear that you have to wear to work?
My typical uniform is just shirt, pants, boots. But when we put the fire gear on and we talk about an air pack, an SCBA mask, it's, upwards of 60 pounds of gear.
That's crazy. I can't even lift that much.
I don't believe that.
Well, like, it depends. If I really, like, am trying to move something that I need, but if it's, like, groceries, I'm like, no, Avery, it's too heavy.
Yeah, so you think about if, I'm over 200 pounds, now you put 60 pounds of gear on me and trying to carry someone out that weighs that much. Yeah, you have to be in some sort of shape at least.
That's crazy.
Yep.
Holy and it can be really dangerous. Like, obviously, not only just fires, but some other situations that firefighters might get called to as well.
Yeah, so honestly, we run a majority medical calls, really.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and that's, obviously in bigger cities like New York, Detroit, they just do fire. Yeah, they run a lot more fires, but the fires are more few and far between. With us, they happen, but it's not every shift.
It's so humid here, Like, I think climate has a lot to do with
and
that
then
also.
just nowadays, just with fire protection services, everywhere sprinklers, and there's certain codes now. It's different than it was back in the day.
Well, someone sent me one story about how they lived in Europe, so it's not an American story, but they lived in Germany, and someone came across old World War II bombs that had not detonated.
Wow.
And so they had to obviously evacuate everywhere, and they called the fire department as some of the people that needed to be on call and help figure out, what do we do? How do we evacuate everybody? Like, just having emergency personnel on the ground. And, they were called the firefighters to deal with that.
Yep.
And one of the firefighter that submitted this to me was laughing. He's like, it was absolutely ridiculous because obviously we had to evacuate these apartment buildings, and some of these individuals had pets with them. And the number of mothers who had conniption fits because these pet owners wouldn't like give their pets to their children to keep them company, or like, why can my kid not hold your dog, or why can my kid not hold your cat? Why are you just being so mean to children? Give them something to do and to play with. It's like, ma'am, this is not a petting zoo.
Yeah, I mean,
like concerned.
There's bombs here. There's priorities.
This is not the concern. But have you ever dealt with, like, I mean, you live in Florida, so I'm sure you've seen some crazy things.
Yeah, there's some
Obviously,
crazy Floridians out
yeah,
there.
for sure. Like, you just have to Google Florida man and, like, something interesting will
Oh, yeah,
pop
that's
up.
usually what you see. Florida man breaks into a zoo, pets the tiger. Yeah, I mean, there's...
Adopts a gator, like, you know. Have you had any interactions with people when in calls that you're just like, oh my God, I don't get paid enough to deal with this?
I mean, we deal with all sorts of people, the craziest people of the people. I mean, so one story, just to give you perspective, is there was this guy who called us, and he was calling because of abdominal pain or whatever it was. So we're taking him to the hospital. And, you know, it was just a run-of-the-mill call, no big deal. We get to the hospital, and the nurses, they started mentioning him by name. They knew him. Must have been a regular. And they asked me, they're like, did you search, you know, his shoe? And I was like, no, that wasn't on my list. When we were checking him out, I didn't search his shoe. And they're like, okay, well, he likes to, smuggle weapons into the ER. So he had this fixation where he would eat, like, knives, razors, like, anything sharp. He had like 20-something abdominal surgeries. Yeah, that's why his stomach was hurting, is because he had swallowed a knife. But I didn't know that at the time, and he didn't tell me that.
Right.
So they've pulled knives out of his shoes before, and I was like, no, that's not something that we do. Well, they had him smile, and when I'm running on him, you know, I'm hooking him up to the monitor.
Right.
I'm super close to him. Well, they lift up his gums, and he had razor blades.
What?
In his gums, yeah.
Why? Like, what was he planning on doing? Was he trying to hurt someone in the hospital?
I have no idea. Maybe he was saving it for later. Maybe a little snack. I don't know. I have no idea. But that was super wild. Yeah. So, I mean, that's just, you know, there's plenty of more stories like that, but that's just some of the people that, you know, we run on.
That's crazy. Well, I'm sure you also have people that just make your life that much harder and more difficult.
Sure.
Like, I'll give you, or do you want to go first?
No, go ahead.
Well, someone sent me a story about how they got called. They also worked firefighter and EMT. They got called to an older woman who fell and couldn't get up, and she needed help. And I don't know all the firefighter terms, but I guess one of the ladder stretchers that like bent around curves, that's they needed it.
Sure.
And it's run by an engine, I guess. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I mean, we have different stretchers and things like that. Yeah, sure.
I don't know what all the things are. But so, you know, it was the middle of the night and it was loud, but you know, they needed to run the engine in order to like help get her down. She was in a building that didn't have an elevator.
Yep.
And this woman comes up to the firefighter at the truck and goes, "Excuse me, what's going on here?" And he's like, "Oh, ma'am, sorry, there's an emergency situation going on." And she goes, "Don't you know what time it is?" And he said, "Ma'am, we don't really get to plan emergencies. Like, they just kind of happen as they go." Well, my son has picture day tomorrow, and he's trying to sleep right now. And this engine is just far too loud. And he said, "Ma'am, I'm sorry, we have an emergency situation going on. I'm going to need you to step back. We're not going to be turning the engines off. Like, someone is in need of help. We're going to be here." And she's just sitting there having a conniption fit because, well, I know this lady is having an emergency, a medical emergency, but my son needs his beauty sleep for picture day, and I'm going to call the police if you do not turn this engine off and let him sleep. And he said, "Ma'am, there are 2 officers right over there. Yeah. You're more than welcome to go tell them that I won't turn the engine off for you." And she said, "Okay, I will." And so she goes and she tells them. The cops laugh right in her face.
Yeah. I mean, it happens, you know. It's not their emergency, so they don't necessarily. So a big thing is car wrecks. You know, you have the whole scene blocked off, and a lot of times we have officers there directing traffic, and you have the rubberneckers, everyone who's watching the wrecks, and people will just drive straight through it, like straight through the scene. And
like, what?
Yeah.
How do they do?
Like, they see, you will have like a car tipped over and then a car on its side, and they just right through the scene and keep on driving. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
On the roads, when there's lights and sirens, the car's supposed to pull over, and you wouldn't believe that does not happen barely ever.
When we talked to Johnny, the police, he was telling us, he's like, yeah, people just don't pull over. And you just, he's like, I assumed when I started the job that they would, but they just don't.
No,
Isn't that illegal?
They'll try to outrun you.
What?
Yeah, they'll go quicker so they don't have to pull over.
That's crazy. I've never in my life actually, like for me, it's always just been muscle memory. Like, oh, lights, like even if they're coming the other way, I immediately am like, where are they coming from? Am I in the way? Am I bothering
Right, people
anybody?
will start to panic, and then, there's no problem going around people, but you're supposed to at least stay
Get out of
put
the
or you
way.
try to get out of the way, not try to race us, yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah.
I can't imagine. So like I know something in my content that I talk about a lot is that in every profession there are always bad apples that kind of make it that much difficult. They're that much more difficult for those around us.
Right.
Whether it be like in teaching, I've had a lot of experience with that. Johnny and I talked about that a little bit in the police world. Have you ever seen anything like that in firefighters? Like I feel like firefighters have such like a positive aura. Like people don't really get mad at firefighters. You know what I mean?
For the most part, if they're calling us, it's because they need us for something.
Yeah.
So they're generally happy when we're there.
Yeah.
But, we deal with all sorts of personalities in the fire service. I mean, from A to Z. So
That makes sense.
not every, personality works the best, with each other. You've got the type A personalities, some more laid back. You've got some generational gaps there too. But
That makes sense.
yeah, but for the most part, we just try to go. You might not like which crew you're with that day, but you're just there to do a job. So,
That
kind
makes
of
sense.
try to, deal with. You never try to, argue on scene. If there's an issue, you
Oh,
try to
yeah.
deal with it after the fact, and then usually it just works best that way.
Well, I guess, like that makes sense that when a lot of these situations that you're in are life or death. Like, and obviously, like, you have some in-betweens and some that are more minor, but when it comes to life or death, everyone wants the best outcome.
Right, you just fall back to your training.
Right. But then sometimes different people have different ideas on what the best course of action is. Because, like, obviously it's far less dire, but even when it comes to, like, teaching and parents and, like, people who butt heads. And, like,
yeah.
I always try to remind people that, teachers and parents, even when they butt heads about what they think is best for the kid, like, everyone is still trying to do what
what's
they
best
think is
for the
best.
kid, right.
They might just have different ideas and different opinions about what that is.
Sure.
So, like, I can definitely see when tensions are that high, when
Yeah.
it's so dire, when there are literal fires and things like that, that, people
Right,
might
and
just have
there's
different
a
ideas.
chain of command, and there's
Yeah.
someone who's in charge of the scene, so
Absolutely.
that helps instead of everyone. You might not agree with exactly a course of action that your officer's telling you, but unless there's a safety concern, it's kind of your job to listen to them and
Absolutely.
and then assume that they've seen something that I don't, or they know more than me. So
That makes sense. And something that really made me giggle when I was like getting ready for this episode is someone sent me a little thing from Reddit. And it was what made me laugh is because I realized it happened near where I live, because I recognized some of the road names, or it happened like near where I grew up.
yeah,
And it was this lady posted a flyer on the fire department entrance that was like, to whoever this may concern, I'm noticing that you guys are blaring your lights and your sirens at all hours of the night sometimes. And I don't think you understand that this is a residential area. So if you could please be courteous enough and not do these at all hours of the night. Like, people are sleeping here, and these roads are all neighborhoods. So just please be a little bit more considerate.
Well, I would love to not run calls at night.
Right,
So that sounds
right. People would
amazing.
love to
So
not have
if
to-
there's no emergencies at night, then that sounds great. I'll
Right.
keep it nice and quiet.
And it just goes back to what you said about, like, your emergency or other people's emergency isn't their emergencies.
Right,
Like this
yeah.
idea of like, well, I'm fine. It's now inconveniencing me. Like,
Yeah.
your emergency is now inconveniencing me. Therefore, like, it's not a big deal kind of thing. Or not even being able to fathom, like, something Jessica Vanell and I talked about with hotels is that people who ask for early check-ins and are told, no, we don't have anything available, can't fathom that it's because other people are still in
Sure.
those rooms.
Yeah.
Like, it's that egocentric mindset of like,
Right. I mean, you really just don't have an idea unless you do it.
Exactly.
Like, unless you're, do a ride along, or you become a firefighter, you become a teacher, an officer, nurse, whatever it is, it just opens your eyes to how things really are.
I even think that just like, taking 5 seconds and just thinking about other people.
Yeah.
Like, it's not that hard to assume, like, oh, I can't check in early. Well, someone else is probably in the room.
Sure,
or,
yeah.
oh, fire sirens are going. Oh, someone's probably having an
help, right?
emergency.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I've never been a firefighter, but anytime I see sirens, like, I will verbally say out loud to Avery, oh, I hope everyone's okay. Like, you don't have to be a firefighter to,
Sure.
like, just be a decent human being.
Well, fair enough,
And
but
assume
yeah.
that someone might,
Yeah.
other people have things going on.
Sure, but yeah.
But we're going to take a quick break and thank our sponsor for this episode, which is Shopify. How many things can you name that are always growing? Your relationships, your skills, your knowledge, your customer base. How about businesses on Shopify? Shopify is a global commerce platform that helps you sell at every stage of your business. From the launch your online shop stage to the real life store stage, all the way to the oh my gosh, did we just hit 1 million orders stage? Shopify is here to help you grow. Whether you're selling shipping supplies or selling productivity programs, Shopify helps you sell everywhere. Shopify helps you turn browsers into buyers with the internet's best converting checkout. Up to 36% better compared to other leading commerce platforms. And sell more with less effort thanks to Shopify Magic, your AI-powered all-star. What I love about Shopify is no matter how big you want to grow, Shopify gives you everything you need to take your business to the next level. Shopify powers 10% of all e-commerce in the United States. Plus, Shopify's award-winning help is there to support your success every step of the way. Because businesses that grow with Shopify. Sign up for a $1 a month trial period at shopify.com/Rebecca, all lowercase letters. Go to shopify.com/Rebecca to grow your business no matter what stage you're in. Shopify.com/Rebecca. Now, back to the episode. Do you have a favorite part about your job? Like, what's your favorite thing that you deal with?
So the interview answer is helping people, but we're not doing the interview answers. And that's all obviously part of it.
Right, for sure.
But the reason that I like to do it is the brotherhood. So your crew, you spend every third day with them. You spend a third of your life with them when you think of it like that. So we're all really close, and we have fun together, and it's like a home away from home, a family. So that was always a reason why I really wanted to get into firefighting. And then obviously the schedule is really nice for me. We're able to travel.
Awesome.
We're able to do have a lot of time off if we need to. And then I just couldn't be stuck in an office either. I couldn't do a 9 to 5 like that. It's just not me. So being able to get out and about, see something new every day, it's the calls are always different. You never know what you're gonna get.
I think that's so important because especially like our generation was kind of brought up. Most people are brought up under this idea that like 9 to 5 is expected.
Right.
That you have to go through that path, and if you don't, it's like, what are you doing? And so I think that being able to highlight like it really isn't for everyone.
Right.
College
There's nothing wrong
everyone.
with it,
Exactly.
and people enjoy that, and that's perfectly fine too. It just was never for me.
Yeah, everyone different strokes. Everyone has different. Like some people would love just sitting at a desk and just doing that all day, and that's totally fine. Some people just, everyone's just a little bit different. But do you have any aspects of your job, like if you could change anything, like your least favorite part of being a firefighter?
Probably just the sleep schedule, honestly. The 24 hours, I'm at a busy station, so we're running calls all throughout the night, and I love my sleep.
Yeah,
so,
I feel that.
So, I mean, that's, and that affects you on your days off, because the schedule is really good. You work 24 hours on, then you have 2 days off, but if I'm coming off 2 hours of sleep, that first day I have off, I'm in zombie mode, and then that next day it's like, okay, well, now I work the next day, so I kind of have to prepare for that.
And that's so rough on your psyche.
It's just part of it, but I love sleep. Some people can deal without that. So, and then some calls, the calls with kids, The calls with kids are probably the toughest parts. Luckily, it doesn't happen, every shift, and you might go months without a bad call with kids, but those are tough ones too.
Someone told me that their least favorite part of being a firefighter is houses with pets, because and this, like, oh my god, I like sobbed when I saw this, because I'm a cat person, but I hear that dogs will usually follow owners out, but cats will hide. And so, like, Avery and I have an emergency plan.
Good. I want to hear it, please.
Well, so our if anything were to happen, like, we each have our own cat.
Right.
Like, that's and they're usually pretty good at, like, always being around us. So if they hear the fire alarm, they do hide because they don't like the loud noise. So Avery's responsibility is Vixie, and my responsibility is Milo, and like, that's all that matters.
Yep.
Everything else in the house is replaceable, but they're not by any means necessary. So
I get that.
he gets her, I get him, and we both know their hiding spots. So like, that's the plan.
Yep.
If there's ever an emergency, he gets her, I get him, and we get out.
There's plenty of times where it's at that situation that the cats are hiding, and we end up finding them, or we're searching under couches looking for animals, and for the most part they're okay. But even you think car wrecks, like riding around with their animals, that's tough too.
That always scares me because, like, so our animals, they get so afraid of the car, and they obviously have a car carrier, but Milo would prefer it open, and it always makes me so nervous because I'm like, I don't want it.
Yeah, driving 10 and 2 the whole time.
And, like, intrusive thoughts are always in your brain, and it's like, so, like, we always have to be, if I can't drive when the cats are in the car, because I get very sensitive to, like, the high-pitched sounds, and Milo will wail.
Oh, yeah.
And so Avery, either I have to be in the passenger seat holding his carrier, calming him, or Avery has to be there by himself. But I can't do it. But I know that sometimes firefighters get called to some of the most gut-wrenching cases, and there's nothing that can be helped. Like, someone sent me another, like, the worst call that he's ever been on. Trigger warning really quickly, self-harm, suicide, things like that. A woman called 911 from the fire department. She was just sobbing, and she managed to say, "Help, husband, please," and they just sent firefighters to just check it out.
Oh yeah, we get called all the time on unknowns, information. So, and
when they got there was a little note taped to the door that she handed them, and it said, oh, I'm gonna start crying. And the note said, "Honey, if you found this, I'm already gone. Please do not come into this door because I don't want you to see this." And she just immediately, obviously, called 911 and said, he needs help. Somebody needs to come help him and save him. And so obviously 911 stayed on the phone with her as firefighters arrived. And they walked into the room and they called, I don't remember what the code was, but they just called the code for a deceased person. And the 911 dispatcher could just hear her wailing because she was just so convinced that maybe they could get back there in time.
I know.
But,
that's that shout out to dispatchers, because people don't understand that is wild that they're talking to people as they're calling in these emergencies. That's what they do. Yeah, that's crazy, and I don't think I could do that either. Because I just show up, like, after the fact, and they're the ones initially getting that info.
Well, luckily I've gotten a lot of stories from firefighters that are a lot more funny and fun and light. Like, someone said that their favorite call that they ever got was from someone whispering. And at first they were very concerned. They were like, "Hi, I need help." And because they were whispering, they assumed that it was a very, very dire situation.
Yeah, maybe it was an intruder.
Are you
or
okay?
Right.
Like, is someone there to harm you? Have you been abducted? No, I'm hiding. Well, is someone in your house? Like, why are you hiding? No, we're playing hide and seek, but I'm stuck. Where are you hiding? I wiggled into the dryer and I can't get out. Why are you whispering? Because I don't want her to find me.
This game is serious. There's stakes right now.
I just need someone. I know someone's going to have to get me out. So someone please send some help for when she finds me.
I can respect the commitment on this game because you're a trooper.
Or someone else sent me another one that this was their favorite call ever. And it kind of came in 3 parts. First part came in, they got the call that a fire was started and it was growing pretty large, and that they were going to need the fire department very soon because it was going to get out of control, they believed. Second call came in saying the St. Bar is getting bigger. It's starting to get close to buildings. We really need people here ASAP. Next call came in. Hey, we just found out that these buildings that it's getting close to, it's farms and they've got livestock. Like we really,
That's getting
this
serious.
is getting very serious. This is getting very dire. Last call came in. Never mind, we're good. The farmer used the poop shedder or something like that and just sprayed a lot of manure on it and the whole fire went out. So we're good.
Amazing.
Don't need any help anymore.
Amazing. You're hired.
We're good. I didn't know that it did that.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you throw enough dirt or whatever on it, then you just put it out. You're smothering it. So.
I had no idea. I bet it smelled really bad.
Yeah, right? That on fire? Yeah.
Oh my God, I didn't even think
Yeah.
about that.
Amazing, though.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Holy
I love
moly.
that. Yeah.
Well, do you think that when it comes to being a firefighter, there are any kind of misconceptions or myths or anything like that that the general public just assumes? Like me, when I thought that every fire department had a Dalmatian on, then, you know.
I wish. If we can make that one a reality, I would love that.
I will try so hard just so I can come visit the puppy.
Yeah, that would make it a lot better. There's misconceptions that all we do is sit around in the recliners all day and
Really?
hang
People
out.
think that?
Yeah. And which isn't totally untrue. My dad is at a pretty slow station, and he does not run as many calls as he used to back in the day. There's slower stations, but not where I'm at right now. But so, you know, but it's such a case-by-case basis because even his slow station that he might be at, they might have a shift that's absolute mayhem. You know, there's nothing to say that they're not going to run, you know, all night, all day, whatever it is. So that's a misconception. I will say we've had people get upset with us, seeing us in like the grocery store getting food because they think that we're not running calls and we're just shopping. So, yeah, we've had people come up in the grocery store and say, shouldn't you be running calls? You're on duty, this or that. And we're still available. Like, we have our radios on. So
That's great. Like, as if you don't have to eat.
yeah, that's what I'm. So we're there for 24 hours. So I don't know if people understand that, but yeah, we get dinner for the shift or we get breakfast. And
That's crazy. So, like, I used to work at a restaurant and we used to always have this team of firefighters come in for lunch.
Sure.
And we just knew, like, they might have to leave at a drop of a hat. And sometimes they did.
Yeah.
And it was just very normal for us. They would just, like, flag, hey, whether they would tell the host, like, if they could see the...
whenever you guys dropped off the check, they would just be like, oh, sorry, we got a call.
Oh, sorry, gotta go.
And it happened every single time.
We couldn't figure out why. But no, we just knew, and like if the food wasn't all done yet, then we would just stop making it. So when they came back, it was a little warmer, or still hot or anything. And if it was getting cold, we would just box it up for them because you know we knew they'd be back. We just knew it might take an hour or two, and that's okay. Like
same thing at the grocery store. Hand our cart to someone, they put all the, you know, cold stuff, frozen stuff aside, and we come back for it later. So
see, like that's so cool. Like, I guess the people working together and like it's just kind of an unspoken thing of, hey, I gotta go. Can you take care of this? Like that should be a normal thing.
Yeah, it's
not
really nice.
Scolding firefighters for going grocery shopping.
And typically, I mean that doesn't happen that often. It happens, but like for the most part, people are super friendly all the time.
Well, that's something that I talk about a lot. That whether you're a nurse or a teacher or whatever, like most of your interactions with people are either like completely neutral, like not good or bad, and then you have some really good experiences, but the ones that really like get you, man, it's
I mean it's gonna happen, and you just kind of say, okay, yep, we'll get back to running calls, this or that. It doesn't matter. I mean, they just don't understand. They just don't understand.
I'm floored. Like I've never actually, other than, you know, you're in my way or you're waking me up with your sirens or I want to drive past you. Like I've never actually heard of people being mad at firefighters.
Well, some people are going to find something to be mad about, and that's with anything.
That's so miserable.
So,
So, you know, when you go on a shift, you hope that it's kind of like, you don't hope people have emergencies, you know?
No.
So, like, what do you do to pass the time at the fire station with the guys?
I start the shift off, and whoever I'm riding with, if it's a new guy or a student, we have students sometimes, I just say there's two things that we need to run this ambulance efficiently. Do you know what those might be?
I have no idea.
Okay.
Absolutely none.
I need to be fed and I need to be caffeinated. And as long as if I had food and caffeine, we are good to go. We will make all the rest happen. So
I was ready for like a...
yeah, no, well, like medicine and things like that. No. I need food and
Well,
caffeine.
I thought you were going to tell me something with like the truck.
Yeah, no, the truck, yeah. The truck needs to have stuff. We'll figure that out, though. Yeah. But
I'm
for
sure
me
it's
to
fine.
be a well-oiled machine, that's what I
love
need.
that. That's
yeah.
so funny.
And then the students are usually just like, okay, fair enough. I'll make that happen. So once I have that, then we're good to go. But and then sometimes, you know, we might get a call right on shift change when we're swapping our gear off, and you know, usually we do a thorough truck checkout, make sure we have everything, and then we might be on the road the majority of the day. But those times that we're not busy, we do training. So we still train and do different drills, work out, play pranks.
So you do get like, you're not constantly go for 24 hours.
No, there's time. You know, every shift is different, honestly.
For
So
sure.
you never know. But usually during the day, up until 5 o'clock, it could be doing computer work if we need to. It could be training.
Do you
we
have a lot
time.
of paperwork when it comes to like...
Yeah.
Oh, that's
So
the worst.
it's the worst. Yeah.
Yeah,
The paperwork's the
There are
paperwork's the
some
worst.
people I'm sure that like just sitting at a desk and doing
No.
paperwork.
I mean, for
but it's not me.
every patient we run on, there's a report. So,
Oh.
and you know, it's not anything too crazy. I don't really get caught, you know, have too many reports stacking up. I can usually finish them pretty quickly. But,
Okay, good.
But yeah, it's definitely the worst part. If I didn't have to deal with paperwork, that would be amazing. Yeah.
That sounds awful. I mean, I guess there's like liabilities and things that go into that. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Do you think that there are certain times of the year where you get like more calls where people are a little bit more careless or fires are tend to happen more? Or?
So probably wintertime, at least in Florida, everyone's coming
Right,
to Florida.
I'm sure, everyone's probably different, yeah.
And then like a lot of respiratory issues in the you know, when it gets wintertime.
Yeah, I feel
those
that.
flare up. Holidays like 4th of July, New Year's. That's where a lot of the crazies come out, lighting off fireworks, doing things they
I
shouldn't.
wonder who does that.
Yeah, it's probably not you, right?
Oh, so I know somebody, obviously a friend.
Yeah, friend.
Yeah. Who, you know, they used to get together with other friends. And when they were kids, their families would go to another state and get the fireworks that our state didn't allow. Obviously not me.
Not you.
For sure not. For sure. And for like 4th of July, they used to
Say it again.
they used to
Okay.
set off the really big fireworks. Well, one year, I guess there was like a defective firework or
Yeah.
something, because they lit it, the adults, because the friends were children at the time, like they were middle schoolers.
Right.
The adults lit the fireworks, and it exploded out the side and came up the driveway where everyone was sitting.
Yep.
And one of the friends ended up getting a big old bald spot on their head
Yep.
from a firework. And all the parents were like, you know what, maybe we shouldn't be doing this anymore.
So
Maybe not.
they sound like people I want to be friends with. Because that sounds amazing.
Oh, then I'll tell you
Yeah.
another. A friend's other friends, not anyone I know.
Different friends.
Different friends. Not me, like actually not me,
okay.
but people I know. No one I'm related to or anything. No. They were going to the park and they wanted to set off big fireworks. And there were some police officers in the area that were like, those are illegal here. You probably shouldn't be doing that, especially
Yeah.
in a park that's a heavily wooded area.
Yeah,
like,
lots of trees.
Let's
Yep.
be smart. You guys are like older teenagers. Let's not do that. And the guys were like, got caught, but we still got all these fireworks. So as they're walking home, they come across a porta potty.
Oh, okay.
And they're like, you know what?
No trees in there?
We could keep this contained.
Yeah.
Yeah. So They put all of the fireworks in at once and light them all off, and within 5 seconds decided, oh no.
Yeah, you can't unlight them when you light them.
This was a bad idea. And the entire porta potty just aflame. And they're like, we should probably leave, man. So they skedaddle out of there.
Probably a good idea.
And then they went back the next morning, and the entire porta potty was just a puddle.
Yep.
And they're like, ooh.
Yeah.
Maybe we shouldn't do that again.
So yeah, that happens on a normal basis. And then on the holidays, now everyone's doing it. So
yeah. Oh my gosh. Have you come across, and I don't even know if you can talk about these, have you come across any like kids ha moments that turned into a fire department call?
There's plenty of fires I've started with, someone
that you started?
No, of course not.
Friends,
Of course
people
not.
That we know.
I will say, you think firefighters are super responsible, fire safety, but will be the first ones to do something off duty and be like, it's okay, I'm a firefighter.
Well, duh.
We've got this.
Are you telling me that firefighters are pyromaniacs?
Yeah, maybe. We love fire, of course.
Yeah, you choose to run into fire on a daily basis. Why wouldn't you?
Right.
Oh my gosh.
Yep. But we have the classic kids pulling the fire alarms. All the
my
time,
gosh.
And, that happens. But usually the kids are really terrified when we show up because they know, oh no.
Oh no.
I messed up. Yeah, this is real.
I don't want a consequence.
I remember the parent, telling the kid, all right, you got to apologize to the firefighters now. And I don't care that much. Kids are going to do it.
Yeah.
And then the kid's just looking up at me with the saddest eyes. It was just like, I'm sorry. And it was like breaking my heart. I'm like, it's okay. Just don't do it again.
Well, I don't know if this is like real or not, but this is something that schools always said. And I don't know if it was real or just to scare kids from not doing it. But I vividly remember school saying like, oh, anytime a kid pulls a fire alarm, it costs the school money because it requires the fire department has to respond to it. Is that a real thing? Do you know?
I think it is after a certain amount of times too.
Okay,
Don't quote me on that.
No,
I'm gonna get roasted by people in the comments.
Oh,
But
I
I don't know everything. But yeah, if not, then we've told people that too. So
just to keep
just
them from
just to
doing
do
it?
the same thing,
Bless,
keep them from doing it. So
do you have any moments in your career that are just like super heartwarming? They're some of your favorite moments to just feel good, reflect on, like anything like that?
So I have a couple stories. I have one that happened to me not too long ago.
Okay.
And then I have one that my dad actually experienced, which is just a good story in general.
Okay.
So,
I love all them.
So a few weeks back, we get a call, and it's for a public assist. And usually when we go for a public assist, it could be just helping someone off the ground,
Right.
Not necessarily hurt, but they need to get into their wheelchair, back into bed. We run on them all the time. Well, this was a patient who was a hospice patient and was really, really close to the end. And she was actually upstairs. Well, her family was there, and they're talking to me, and her husband was there, but downstairs. And they said, we know that she doesn't have much time left. We have a bed set up down here. He can't be with her because he can't get up the stairs. So they were like, I know it's not in your job description really. Is there any way that you could help get her from upstairs to downstairs so we could all be together and help her get comfortable in bed? And so we said, of course. We helped her. And like I said, she was, you could tell that she didn't have much time left. And so she was pretty out of it. And, we were able to move her downstairs, get her into bed, make her comfortable. And then we ended up leaving, glad we could help. Well, we get a call a few hours later back to the residence for someone that had passed. And she had passed. And when we got there, she was surrounded by her family, surrounded by her husband. And they were just super appreciative. He looked at me and he just said thank you. Like, they were able to be with her in those final moments. And it wasn't that we did that much, but it made a difference. And just being able to, be there for them and do that was a really good feeling.
I feel like people, I have a family member that's also in hospice. I've had bosses that were in hospice. Sometimes people really just hang on for those moments where they like feel comfortable.
Yeah, I think they know.
They so know. Oh my God, I'm like, gonna start crying.
Oh man, I've got another one teed up too.
Okay. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna start sobbing.
I really like this story too. It didn't happen to me personally, but it's a really good story. This is one that happened to my dad, and I mentioned that he was at a slower station. The station's on the beach. So there is this patient, hospice patient, and inside his house there's pictures all over the place. Really big surfer back in the day, him and his wife. Huge surfers, loved the beach, loved the water. And he was very close to the end too. And they wanted more than anything for him to be able to go down to the beach one last time. So they were able to get him, bring him down. They put him on the stretcher, were able to wheel the stretcher through all the sand, get down to the water. And they were able to, and then, they're keeping it super sunny out because we're Florida in the summertime, and they're able to keep him shaded, and they put him down. We're able to, his family was all there, put sand on his feet, let him feel the beach again. And he also looked up and he just barely whispered it, and he said thank you to them. Yeah, so that was really special.
Gosh.
The family was just so appreciative, and that's really cool that they were able to be a part of that.
So
Because
sweet.
like I said, there's he's however old now, but there's pictures of him my age back in the day surfing, and that's what he loved to do. So, and he hadn't been to the beach and who knows how long. So for him to be able to do that and then to make that happen was really cool.
So, oh my God, I have chills.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so adorable.
I love that story, but it's just, and it's, again, it's not that they did, they didn't save someone's life or do anything. It was just, they were there for him. Yeah. So to be able to be a part of that.
They do so much, and they really are life-changing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Yeah, but we get called to anything. I mean, you think it's just a fire, you think it's a sick person, but it could be anything to, SeaWorld called us one time to help them. There was a manatee that was caught up and had beached itself basically off the river and needed help, bringing him back in. So we helped rescue a manatee.
That's
basically,
so
which
cool.
which is not something that you think you sign up for when you become a firefighter. But the thing is if there's an emergency, it could literally be anything. It could be a kid that's caught in an attic, it could be
stuck in a tree.
Cat stuck in a tree.
Have you actually ever saved a cat from a tree?
No, but I've been training. I've been training my whole life for it.
Right, waiting for the moment.
And when it happens, it's going to be glorious.
I don't know where that idea came from.
I don't know.
They climb trees on their own. Why would they? They probably just don't want to come down. They don't want you to bother
No, they don't
them.
want to be rescued.
They want to stay by themselves in the tree.
No, but it looks heroic.
Absolutely. Well, I got a cute little kitten in your hand. Absolutely, looks like the hero of the year.
Mm-hmm.
I've had lots of people send me stories about how they, get called and have to accidentally deliver babies on the side of the road, or someone sent me this one story that it just turned into a fiasco of this couple was on the side of the road because the woman was in labor, and she's like, call 911. I need someone to come help me. I can't make it to a hospital. I need medical personnel here.
Yeah.
And so they called, and the fire department was obviously the first to be able to get there, and they got there, and there's a screaming match. Apparently what happened is while the boyfriend was calling emergency services, while he was on the phone with dispatch, he goes, we're on this road and this highway, and wait a second, why are there inappropriate pictures of dudes on your phone? Yelling at the lady. She's like, what do you mean? He goes, why? I'm looking at the photos on your phone, and there's other dudes on your phone. And she's like, well, you're supposed to be calling 911. Why are you looking at the photos on my phone.
Right.
How do you know those aren't you? Because I'm not white and there's a white dude on your phone.
Oh.
Why? I'm not that color. I know.
My
That's
question
not me.
is, what color was the baby?
I don't know.
That's what I need to know. Yes, that definitely
That-
matters.
Yes. I have no idea. They didn't tell me that, but they said that the firefighters arrived onto the scene as it was well, why are you looking at my phone? Well, why are you doing this? Blah, 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 blah. I was just calling 911. Nope, you were looking at my pictures. And it's like, well,
Yeah,
we're
Jerry
marriage
Springer
counselors
episode.
today.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the day on today's episode of What Are Firefighters Doing? We're marriage counselors as we deliver a baby.
Right.
Multitasking.
Got to. We're all multitaskers.
So is there any last minute like tips, tricks, anything that you really want people to know when it comes to your job as a firefighter?
Yes, only one.
Okay.
Only you can prevent forest fires.
Thank you so much for hanging out with us
Thanks for
today.
having me. It's been great.
Absolutely. Thank you all. I hope you all have a great rest of your day and hope to see y'all next week.
Bye.
Bye, lovelies.